Everyone, good morning. Please, can you confirm with an emoji that you can hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. All right then. So, okay, let's wait for about 5 to 6 minutes to see other alumni that will join in. Yeah, Abdul, you are raising your hand.
Yes, so welcome to sorry, another screen. Welcome to today's webinar, and I will be taking us on cybersecurity. But then it has a sub which is cybersecurity in 2025. Okay, I make this full screen. I hope you can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you. So, what's on our agenda today is going to be real quick and accommodate time for questions and all that. So, first thing on our agenda is why cybersecurity matters. Then we'll look at the CIA triad. Then we'll look at key emerging cybersecurity threats in 2025, and then staying ahead with defense strategies, and then obviously practical tips for individuals and at large organizations out there. So why does cybersecurity matters? Now, according to Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, that's the CISA, cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information struck a point, and we'll also get to see it later on as I proceed. So that's according to Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. They are the ones in charge in the US of the total landscape of cybersecurity and at large rather. So first point I have here is global impact. So cost of cybercrime projected to reach $10.5 trillion annually by 2025. So this year we're currently at, it has been projected that globally the cost of cybercrime, I mean, that's on the negative side, right? It's not, we're not even looking at the positive side now. So cybercrime that will be out there, the total cost will be and will reach 10.5 trillion annually. I think that's quite a lot for cybercrime aspect. Now, rising targets. So who are these people that get vulnerable to this cybersecurity attacks? So from individuals to multinational corporations, no one is exempted. So both you that you're just alone out there thinking you don't have anything that go around, or you are just trying to like pick up and have a lot small things that you are doing and helping yourself, you are actually a target to somebody, to a cyber criminal out there. Don't just take it that it's not for you, it's for people that have a lot of money. Now, the third point here says evolving threat landscape. Now, cyber attacks are becoming more sophisticated and frequent. So, it's not the way cyber attacks used to happen 10 years back. That's the way it's happening now. It's different. It's a different scheme. It's a different mentality that those guys put into committing these crimes. It's totally different, and they keep on refining that process all the time. It does not happen because if they don't refine that process, you get to know, and then obviously you avoid that track and you'll not be caught up. Even the dumb person, most dumb people knows that, right? So that's that about that side. They tend to, get much more updated about the way they do their things. And yeah, that's it. Now we move on to the CIA triad. The CIA triad, you remember, it was confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? So moving on, the CIA triad of information security. Now, the first one here says confidentiality. Now, what does that even mean? So it ensures that data or an information system is accessed by only authorized person. So you don't want, probably in a work settings, maybe there's a particular room that holds the whole finances of the entire company, and then in the company you have managing director, you have CEOs, you have normal employees, you have gatekeepers, you have drivers, and the like. So you don't want a driver to have access to the top level of where you keep the company's personal belongings, and financial needs. You get, so they don't get to use that as the back advantage over you and then destroy something at the long run. That's that about confidentiality. And then integrity, it assures that the data or information system can be trusted, ensures that it is edited by only authorized persons, of course, and it remains in its original state when at rest. So if you are trying to move that data from a point A to point B, you ensure that it does not get manipulated in between. It does not get tweaked and then something happens and you be like, this is not what we had from start. The third point here is availability. So you ensure, of course, as the name implies, data and information systems are available when required. So the triad system, information security system, is that it's confidential, it has integrity, and always available in its original form. So the next on our agenda here says key emerging cybersecurity threats rather in 2025. So what are the threats that have been projected, that is going to cost that amount in this year 2025 that is already flying now, we're in April already. So the first one is AI driven cyber attacks. I mean, these ones I wrote here are not all of them. So these are just the ones that we all can see in the limelight. We can see it in the forefront, but it's not yet that rampant because, of course, it's still developing. So AI driven cyber attacks. What does this mean? It means hackers leverage AI for phishing, deepfakes, and automating attacks. What's phishing? So phishing is basically, you know, for example, let me use myself as an attacker for now, and then there's a person B, so person A, which is an attacker, trying to get access probably into a company, and then as I'm trying to do that, I see that there's no way for me to, you know, get unauthorized access rather into the system infrastructure remotely. Now, I'm talking about remotely, I'm not talking about on site. Now, what is the first thing that comes to mind? I then get to, look for people that work there and can be my vulnerable target. So if I get somebody, I then probably use maybe Amazon as a clone. I clone Amazon and then send them a mail, of course, that is not from Amazon, and then edit all those things and, you know, do all those things and make it look like this email is coming from Amazon. Meanwhile, it's just a phishing link in which I can use rather to extract information from them. Example, the email might be telling them that somebody logged in into your account, that you should come and log in back and check if this is this and it was you that actually did it. Not even aware that you did not do anything, and then you clicked on that link and you put your login details, and just like that, I might now even do the liberty of redirecting you back to the original Amazon website, and then I already have those credentials you put in that input box, and then I use it to go against your will and do things that are like that. So that's about phishing and deepfakes. It's about face cloning and using it for malicious means, and then automating attacks. All those ones are attacks that you don't really have to do more, just automate them and they work for you. I'm talking from a cyber attacks standpoint. So the next point here says ransomware as a service. So short form RAS, and then it says it's easy to use platform for cyber criminals to launch ransomware campaigns. So what's even ransomware? So ransomware is basically a form of attack that what does it do? It once it gets into once they are it deals with a lot of people actually. So they come together as probably a government entity, and then they launch a specific attack on another side of the story. You get so if for example there are some maybe we might have heard about the name anonymous group. All those guys are cyber will I say they are cyber criminals? Of course they are going against the will of the security system in general. But then what they do is that they stand for a cause. So they might be that okay, they are evolutioning for something, and they say this is what they want. If you don't get to meet their demand, just like a protest, but then it's online and then it's for a cause. Most of them are not really for a good cause. Most of them, that's why they are actually cyber criminals. But the ones that are for good cause are ethical guys, and they don't really do this ransomware things. They just get to work on an ethical basis. But if you are doing a ransomware, that means you expect something in return, and if it's not met, you're going to do something bad. So that's why those cyber criminals use that. Now the next point here says supply chain attack, targeting third-party vendors to compromise their entire system. And next one is quantum computing threats. Quantum computing threats, that's the breaking traditional encryption method. So about that side, quantum computing, provided when it comes into limelight, it's also a threat that can give the cyber criminals much more leverage because quantum possibilities is endless, like we all know. So it gives them standpoint and leverage in which they can use to do something very devastating. It's not like we should don't have quantum, but then if it's coming into limelight, it has to be very well organized and structured in the sense that it will be almost nearly possible, or sorry, almost nearly impossible for the cyber criminals to utilize for their malicious benefits. Now, IoT vulnerabilities, that's Internet of Things vulnerabilities. Billions of connected devices as new attack surfaces. So what this is trying to tell us is that for the Internet of Things side of things, it's not exempted because there are a lot of devices connected all around the world today, and then attacks can actually pass through a device to another without you even knowing, and it will just stay there until the time of manifestation, and you'll be like, wow, so this has been happening. So the next thing on our agenda says staying ahead and our different strategies. So we have heard about these guys, we have heard about how they are sophisticated, how they don't actually rely on the past method they used years back, how they stay current with their day-to-day cyber crime, and how they utilize technology to get ahead of unsuspecting individuals and then for their malicious benefits. So how do we then stay ahead of those guys? Because of course nobody wants an attacker to gain access to your privacy, even though it's not on a large level for our current stage. I mean, I'm saying from my own perspective, I don't really care currently about anything about privacy. Not that I don't care, but I don't really care like that because I know that over the coming years, I'm of course going to take my privacy seriously because you're moving into some certain age, and you know that okay, you have to take your life seriously, and you don't want your things and your stuff getting out there in the public and just wasting around. So how we stay ahead. So the first point I have here is zero trust architecture. So as name implies, it says verify everything and trust nothing. So every single thing that come on your device, or every single thing that you read out there, or every single thing that you have been told, I mean, in the security standpoint, you should verify them, and you should not just bank on the trust you have from the entity providing that stuff. Like I said during the illustration I was making, if you had not known that this particular email was not from Amazon, you would most likely click it because you, of course, you have an account with Amazon, right? So if you click it and you don't know that this is actually from Amazon, and then you're screwed just like that. But if you know and then you verify that, okay, did I actually do anything to warrant this mail? Because they don't just send you mail like that asking you to come and log in your account. No, they don't just send you those things. It's because you have done something and you'll be like, okay, something happened, and they send you the mail automated. So if you did not do anything of such, why should you be bothered about a mail? You get? So that's about zero trust architecture. Now the next point here says AI powered security. Real-time threat detection using machine learning. So AI powered security is basically giving us a standpoint using AI tools, to detect machine to detect threats in real time. So there are different software sources out there, but it's more used in organizations and not for personal use, because it helps the entire company as a whole, to stay secured with their access control and all that, giving staff controls to this, the IT manager, this, and everybody in total. Now, post quantum cryptography, preparing for quantum safe encryption. So that's about that, as quantum might come into phase in the coming years. So preparing for it, and then safe encryption method using quantum computing, and then regular penetration testing. So regular penetration testing identify and patch vulnerabilities proactively. So I'm saying this from the standpoint of a developer now, that in your organization where you work with, even though you're not a developer and you use a particular app, and you observe that, okay, from the time being that I was using this app to now, there's something about this app that is, you don't really feel that thing is right. For example, if you come on Facebook and then you are seeing, maybe in the place you are supposed to type message to your friends and all that, and you are seeing a PHP code that you didn't send, and it's just there statically and it's not moving anywhere, you observe that, okay, this might be a vulnerability. Because if, for example, somebody knows PHP, you know how to code in PHP, and then you come on Facebook and see that particular side of that stuff, and then you be like, oh, this is actually wrong, and you know what that code does, you might, go at the end and then try to tweak some things and try to gain access through that vulnerability. So as you identify these vulnerabilities, also patch it. If you're a developer and you're in the organization where these vulnerabilities are found, patch it and then update the entire thing. But if you are not, you should, try your best to report to the people in charge, or the people in charge of in the best way you possibly can, because obviously you don't really have access to reporting something on Facebook, but there are systems in place for that, which you can just, Google out, and then you can see places in which you can actually even be paid if you find a bug or a vulnerability that is very genuine and, very, very on a high priority. You can actually be paid, provided that you have proven that this vulnerabilities is something of high priority, and you can get paid for that. And then the next point here says cybersecurity awareness training. So not just that we, don't trust everything, we verify everything we see and we use. Not just that we use AI, not just that we prepare for quantum computing and do a lot of penetration testing, even in organizations. We should always stay aware, we should be aware, we should do trainings on cybersecurity, not obviously in a large scale, but, making research about things and all that. That's actually a form of training for our personal self and personal growth. If you go out there and search on YouTube about cybersecurity awareness and all these things, they are all there out there for you to, learn. Just what you need is just research, and it does not take much for you to do. Go to Google and type what you need, and it fish out things for you. And the best possible way you can just teach yourself and learn this knowledge, because if you equip yourself with knowledge, you avoid things like social engineering, you avoid things like phishing links, you avoid different methods in which these criminals rather can have access to your device and personal security. So that's about our different defense strategies. Now, practical tips for us as individuals and at large our organizations. So, for the tips, of course, using applications, different applications, it is required to use strong passwords. I know most of us here have heard about this thing. So it's not something new, you know. So using strong passwords and MFA, two-factor authentication, and all those things is actually something that helps, because here's how the thing works, right? So in the development settings, let's use Facebook also as as an example. If you just created an account on Facebook and then you register and then you log in and okay, we are good to go. You start browsing and using the app for different means and use, and then somehow somebody got hold of your password somehow, or they just guessed maybe your birthday and something, and then they use your password with your email, and then they click on login, and just like that they log into your account because you don't have 2FA or you don't have MFA or something that keeps your account much more secure. And then, of course, you have password manager, right? Good. Now, how will you feel that somebody else is using the same account you are using, and you didn't give that person the authorization to go ahead, and then they just go spoiling your image out there to number of your friends that are out there and all that. But what I'm saying now, you might not really feel it, because most of you might feel like, oh, okay, so I don't really care about anybody. But then it's actually possible that the place where you care the most, for example, our banking apps, right? So most of us, that's where we care the most, because of course our money is there. So if you are saying the one on Facebook does not pertain to you and you don't care to even use 2FA, how about your banking app? Right? So if they get the same password and you don't use 2FA or biometrics verification to secure your banking applications, then uh, what are you telling me, that I cannot just guess your password and but if you're actually using strong password, it's much more harder to guess. It's not like it's not guessable, but it's much more harder to get breached. And if you are on top of that, you are still using MFA, you are using two-factor authentication and different other authentication methods for your, not just bank apps, but other applications you use and different softwares, then you are most likely will escape the jaws of these cyber criminals. So the second tip here says backup and recovery plan. Of course, regularly backup your data, not just critical data, but all data. Always backup at intervals. I know WhatsApp does this thing that it asks you to back up your chats and save to cloud and all these things. Yeah, please back up as regular as you can, because if God forbid something happens, then you can actually go back to them and then get the latest one you have, or maybe from an organization. Now if something happened and then you were breached, you can actually go to dial your backup, and then if it's a ransomware that happened whereby they seize your whole software, then of course you can always fall back to your backup and then pick up from there and get going. you know so update softwares. So this of course is still common to most of us, although me myself, I'm of course trying to help myself in this regard, because updating software sometimes you might feel like, okay, I like what I'm having now. But then what happens is that Play Store, they do tell you, but it's not every time they tell you that they fix the bug during the push of this software update, that says that okay, they did a software update and then they fix this particular bug. If they start giving you information like that, then people will be, cyber criminals rather, they'll be targeting their attacks to that particular point. So they don't really tell you that they fixed this bug. They will just say that they changed the Outlook and something, and you feel like, okay, it's just Outlook that they changed. You don't care about the Outlook. You like the one you're using before, but no, it's advised to please update your software systems, and then so any updates that come, they it gets fixed. Any issues that arise and any issue that is spot, they can fix it for us, and you just have to update. It's as simple as that. Nothing extra, nothing in between, and just like that. So at this point, please, I want to check and confirm if we are still with me. Just signify, emojis and all that. So I know I've not just been talking to myself. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Cornelius. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we can move on. So the next tip here that we can, help ourselves with is monitoring dark web activities. Well, this might not be for everybody, but if you're internet enthusiast, you can actually, check out about. I did not say you should go to the dark web, please. Please don't go to me. Don't go to the dark web if you don't have sufficient information about how it operates. Mind you, dark web is not just like maybe one secret something. I mean, it's accessible for everybody that has a device. That's how crazy it sounds. So if you don't have enough information to help yourself out there, please don't go, because simply loading a page on the dark web is not just one. Like simply loading a page can make your device vulnerable. So it's as crazy as that. So if you don't have know what's going on, just avoid it. It does not really mean anything, but if you can, you know something about it, and then you can check that side and then look at how things are going out there. It can make you feel much more that okay, what's going to come, and then you know what these guys are planning. Although they might change, but then you know how to protect yourself from that aspect. So the last tips I have here is secure Internet of Things devices. So that's changing your default passwords, isolate devices on separate networks. So this ones actually entails that for all your devices and all your accounts, be it your banking apps, your social media, your school apps, whatever it is, don't or make sure that you don't use one password for all of them. Make sure that you use passwords that are generated, or if it's not generated, make sure it have combination of numbers, of letters, of symbols. And so why are we saying that you should use all this kind of password that you don't remember, all these passwords that have different letters up and down, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbol? Why are we saying you should use it? So this is how it works, right? So from a penetration tester standpoint, what they do is that if I by chance come across somebody email, for now, for example, I'm not saying, but I don't want to use example. For if I come across Cornelius email, maybe it's using Cornelius dot his surname at gmail.com. You can see I guessed fairly what he might be using as his email address, or I can use Cornelius 2002 at gmail.com. It's very possible that people are using this email out there. So I just get that email and then I boot up maybe my system that I'm using to do penetration testing. For example, Linux. So that's just a software that these attackers use to make their malicious act. So if I boot up that my system and then I try booting up brute forcing, so I want to brute force its password. So I then boot up what's it called, Hydra. Hydra is a terminal interface that you use to do brute force on people's credentials. I'm just saying this. I mean, for example, and then I load Cornelius's email on that point and then spin up the attack. And to my greatest surprise, it returned that okay, there's a password that says yellow at 123. That this password is for his Facebook account. Or I see a password that say password, and how password is spelled. And then the A was turned to at, and then the double S was turned to dollar symbol. You see how I just outlined some of us passwords, because some of us use this password that I'm actually mentioning. And maybe you just write your Cornelius at 123 or Cornelius at 321. All those things are actually variable. So if I boot up my brute forcing and then I'm seeing passwords like this. I'll be like, really? So when I get this password, I log into his Facebook account. If he doesn't use 2FA or MFA, then I obviously have access to his Facebook and his friends. And I might just, if I'm a cyber criminal, go and start doing something bad and then destroying things here and there, because that's mostly their objective. If you don't get to pay them off and things goes out, they will definitely want to do something bad on him. And then even though you pay them off, they might still do what they want to do and then leave you stranded. So the best thing is to just defend yourself. So back to our illustration, then I see this password and all, and then I log into his Facebook. I see that, oh wow, this thing work, and I use Cornelius at 123, and then it work. But then I have okay, how about I check his Instagram? And I go to his Instagram, I use the same password. It told me wrong password. I now use Cornelius at 321 instead of 123. I use 321. And to my surprise, it worked again. So what are you telling me? This guy is reusing his passwords for multiple social media applications or different other things, and I can go ahead and then check other social media as at. And if I'm a cyber criminal, which I am not, please, I am not. So if I am, you know, get to do malicious things to this guy, and it's going to be bad for him, not for me, because obviously I don't care about what happens as cyber criminal. I'm not saying I am one. Please, I'm emphasizing this thing. I am not one. I'm just giving this example so we can understand the extent in which this particular issue can be stretched to. So that's about that. Don't use default password. Don't use password at 123. Don't use passcode at 123. Don't use yellow. Don't use princess. Don't use your best date. Don't use these things. Use something that is difficult to crack, because from my previous illustration, reinforcing a basic account can take no less than 2 minutes. I've cracked the password. I'll just see the password here. That's how it is, because there are applications that we can use to make this thing spin faster. But then if you use passwords that are really really strong, I can use 15 letters password, not all of them letters, but you have letters, numbers, you have symbols, and the likes. All of them was now maybe 15 in total. It's very, very. I might not get that password. So that's the way it is. That side of cyber criminal activity has not been upgraded yet. To start guessing all those different random sequences that can occur, or at most, if I even get it, if it's like 10 characters all together and then it's mixed to it, numbers, letters, and symbols, it can take months, if not years, to try to get that combination that you actually use. And then cyber criminals don't really have that much time to come and be waiting for months to get just one password. They don't do that thing. So that's about that side. So make sure you don't use one password for all your devices and try to stay secure. So in conclusion, let's try to adopt a proactive approach to cybersecurity. It's not just a technology issue. It's not just something for organizations only. It's something that is strategic. It's something that you have to be thinking on your feet. It's something that you don't just leave aside, because if you leave aside, there's definitely disaster waiting in front. So why not just take little steps? I mean, these steps, most of them I've mentioned, are not something that will make you break the bank and then go and start looking for one kind huge amount of. These are simple things that you just overlook daily, thinking there's nothing there, and then of course there's always a backside to it. So staying informed, the cyber landscape evolves rapidly, so continuous learning is critical. Like I explained, making research on Google, looking for something on Google, just search about these things. They are outside. They are a lot. So just look for these things and then understand how these things work, and then you see yourself on the top there. Knowledge is key. So get these things, get it right. Just make research. That's the basic word. Nobody's going to come and babysit you and then teach you all this. I mean, we even learned a bit of that from our previous experience at BMint, which whereby you actually used devices, the computers, to do our assignments, and most of us did research, right? during our tests and exams, and aside the learning that we had during our stay at Benin, at the physical location. So most of us still, use that flair to, make research and learn skills. It's not just about cyber security now. So you can even use it to learn skills, leverage your knowledge on other things, and then get ahead of your peers. So collaboration is key. Government, organizations, and individuals rather must work together. So if we are on different sides of the coin, it might not really be good as a country. So governments, organizations, and individuals to come together, make there be job availability on the government side of things, make there be, good, conducive environment for the whole country as a whole. You know what Nigeria is feeling like right now. But then, if the government on their own part become a good role model to all of us, definitely most people will not have the idea of going into cybercrime. It's not like most of them want this thing. Although people like me, we have a flair for cybersecurity, but we don't want it on the bad side because definitely we know what happens when you are caught. Even though you're not even in Nigeria, that's when it's even worst. Because those guys, they don't care about your bribery and any amount you have. They just want to see the end. That's all. That's about it. Different. There's one popular malware attack that happened sometime. Was it 2012? WannaCry. That's the name of the malware. So this guy, he did. So when they finally caught the people that did all those things, man, the jail term was crazy. Even the person that tried to, break the issue, I mean, resolve the issue, is not from government entity. He also got queries that how was he able to, get the answer to this thing that has been bugging the whole entire country for, for months until they fixed it. So that's that about that. Thank you for, listening to me, and thank you for your time. So these are just a few questions to consider. Although I can entertain questions pending the time we still have left on this call. So what do you think is the biggest cybersecurity challenge today? I mean, from what I said, some people here might be like, okay, I might, try to make research and then know how I can, you know, add more skills to my goals. Like Miss Chioma spoke to us the other time, telling us about, setting clear goals, telling us about making standards for ourselves, making sure that we reflect on the goals we have, making sure that we plan ahead of ourselves because we have a beautiful life in front of us. So how and what do you think is the biggest challenge today out there, not just in cybersecurity? How do you think this challenge is actually big? And then can you actually break into cybersecurity and make a decent living out of it? Yes, I'm actually throwing this question out there, and I would love if somebody can, share me what you think. How do you think you can break into cybersecurity if you feel it's something that okay, you might develop interest in this thing later on in life, and you just you want to try out, or you want to you're finding it hard to get a skill that you already know. For example, if you say you want to go into digital marketing, so you're finding it hard to go into that aspect, probably because you don't have enough information. What do you think is that I'm giving? What do you think is the challenge that is holding you back from not starting out with what you say you are, going to do? What do you think? What do you think? So thank you very much. Thank you, our president. Thank you, all the leadership council here, the secretary, everybody, for this wonderful time. And
Yeah,
thank
thank you very much, Praise. Really, you really, explained the details and, the common cybersecurity crimes which apart from organization individually as well that we are facing, which you really brought, share more light, like us not having just only one password, for a particular application or a platform, and always updating our software, which I'm also part of people, neglect a lot of, updating of a particular version of a software. You understand? A big thank you to you for
you.
really detailing it for us. It was really amazing. And I believe everyone here also enjoyed your talk and the presentation. So, guys, let's give it a round of applause to Praise for his amazing speech. And for that, so
Thank
let's
you, thank you.
ask questions because I believe some of us already have questions we are cooking up for, this amazing speaker of us to share more light into. So I'll open floor for questions. And please, if you have any question, in order for us to have a coordinated way of asking our questions, I want everyone to raise up their hands and Praise will answer questions according to the orderly queue of people raising their hands. Thank you very much, Praise and everyone. So the questions can begin.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, we have Togun here. All right, I think maybe Collins doesn't want to talk, but in the message here, Praise, Colonel, which is Michael, he asks that, can you emphasize more on dark web? Just something he asked, so we would like you to answer that before we come to the person on the queue, which is Togun Oyade here.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Cornelius, my guy. Of course, I've not actually met this guy, but then I'm. Please let me still verify again. I'm not a cyber criminal. Please, Ejo. Eshe. So I was just using his name as example. But then moving to your question, so can I emphasize more on the dark web? Yes. So what is even dark web? So dark web is just like a regular internet. It's just that you cannot access this internet from your regular devices, right? There are policies in place and there are stamped rules that you cannot access these sites from your regular browser. How do you access? No, Amy, not share. I cannot share how you access dark web, please. So people don't go ahead of themselves before. So you can access these places by making research. Whatever you research and whatever you get, you know, you get to get that. But please, if you don't have enough information, don't access the site. So what happens on dark web? Legal things. That's the sole reasons why they had to remove it from the regular browser that you have and all these things. Although some browsers can still go there, but then like, I'm going to tell you how to go there. You need to make research if you actually really want to. Well, what's the essence of you going there? That's the first question. If you don't have interest in knowing how the thing works, so most likely I'm addressing now that the dark web is just a place for illegal activities. It's not like there are no positive activities there. They are actually, but compared to the illegal things that goes on the dark web, it's ridiculous. You get. So that's that about that. I don't know if you see is okay by that, but yeah, human trafficking, etc. All those things they are really bad. You know, they are not something that everybody wants to see. You don't want to be seeing somebody killing somebody, somebody stealing human parts. You don't want to see those things. Although currently the law agencies and of the United States and all those things, they are actually on the dark web. And what are they doing? They are monitoring these things that I'm even talking about. They are monitoring all these activities that happen in the entire web, not even just dark web. So they monitor these things, and then you might think that okay, these people selling it, can't you just catch them? Of course, most of them they are even baits. So some of them are not even real. They are just baits into getting those people that buy. For example, let's say they are doing human trafficking or the dark web. And then there's a law enforcement agency in the US. I'm just saying there might be. We don't know. So there's a law enforcement agency that is actually on the dark web and posing itself as somebody that sells human, and then you come on the dark web and you want to buy a human and you order from the law enforcement agency thinking it's a real illegal practitioner that does this thing. And then you put in all your details and okay, and then boom, just like that, you are caught. So that's how crazy it is on the dark web. It's like a two-edged sword. You don't know who is who. You don't know the intent of this person. You don't know what you are going to meet. That's how crazy it sounds. You don't know what you are going to meet at the time being you access it. So it's very much advice that just stay clear of the dark web and all that. Just stick to the normal aspect of web and internet. You understand, except you have a flare. So if you have a flyer and you think you might do something better and help people in need and all those things, of course, why not make research first? Then of course, with pleasure, enjoy. So thank you. Next question.
Okay, all right then. Onanuga, you can ask your question now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Good afternoon, and a big shout out to Praise actually for this insight. But my question to him is actually, despite all the attacks from cybersecurity criminals, if you make use of the Google Play Store app, you still see some dark web applications. Like even despite all your attacks, why is Google Play still allowing those apps on their platform? Because no matter how many times you download it, I get the part for VPN. VPN has good uses, and but it's also playing a big role in supporting those dark web apps, because there's like Tor browser on Google Play Store. Making use of that app is like really really bad, because the amount of good reviews you're actually getting, you get from that Google Play Store under that application is very very wild. Let me just use the word wild, like very very big. So why is the an application like that still running despite audio attacks? It should have been taken out from that particular source called Play Store. And also, thanks to also this good cyber security, if you log in like some phishing mails also, and it takes you to Chrome, it will bounce you back, telling you that this is a static website, not using HTTPS. But my own issue now is, what is the whole cybersecurity agency doing about this dark web browser on Play Store? I don't support them being there at all. Thank you.
Okay. So about that, yes. So Tor as a browser in general is actually a tough platform. That most people use. Even cybersecurity people, the people on dark web also they use these applications, and even normal people, right? So this application is still out there on to be accessible by anybody. And what I feel is that as just any organization, as brave is, as Chrome is, as Google is, Tor is just an organization out there putting their application out there. And then provided that they have a leveraging standpoint compared to other browsers, probably it might be their speed, it might be their durability, it might be the way they handle their catch and all those things. They are just good at what they do, that they pose themselves as a normal regular browser. So for you now, from your standpoint, you know already that okay, this Tor browser can be used to do something malicious, right? You already know that, right? And other browser bounces you off. So other browsers are actually from the organizations that they don't want this for any of their individuals. Yes, the US agency for all these things also have a upper hand, to tell Tor that do these things and do this thing. But there are policies in place that I cannot really judge for now. And then even on after also, there are policies there that gives them some leveraging standpoints that makes it that they can't really have a control on the entire Tor as it seems. But then, of course, I can guarantee you that they're actually making precautions, because you cannot just tell me that you go on Tor browser now and then you just browse something and then you see one dark web link. No, it's not that simple. You have to know the way to browse that kind of thing. So them too, they are also making preventive measures. But if you are using Tor, it's not like you then get the dark web experience. No, you don't get that at the first standpoint. So about that, the agencies, of course, are putting precautions in place. I mean, I read one of the articles that was it banning people that it was banning entities that promote dark web activities. So they were all that is in place, and they are trying their best, according to me. They are trying their best, but it's something that happens over time. And then even on the dark web, so the law, I can guarantee that one is 1,100% that law agencies in the US, they are fully on the dark web. How do I know this? I made research, and of course from YouTube too. These guys are there, they are standing there in the dark web spaces. You might think you are just getting in there without anybody monitoring. They are monitoring this. In fact, they are even more present on that side of the web than this regular side because they believe, okay, they are criminals, hardened criminals that they have been pursuing for years. They're trying to, hide away and all this. And most of them have been found there. And, that's just the way it sounds. So thank you. I hope you get.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.
All
Thank you.
right, Omega, was your questions answered properly to you at least?
Yes, but not all. But I'll stick with this. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Then. I can see that someone else has raised their hand, but before that, before the raising hand came in, okay, this guy, what's his name? Daniel Adekobu asked that, is there any software application that automatically detects viruses and bugs before downloading or installing any application, or automatically block any attempt of hack, or even block hackers and notify the individual on what is happening? Okay, all right then. So please, please answer this question.
Okay, so okay, actually funny one to me, but anyways, it's a question, and I mean, some people here might have this idea on their heads too, but let me take it chunk by chunk. So, if there is software application automatically detects virus and bug, so those two entities are different. What is bug? Bug is a disrupt in the system code. You get, so for example, let's go back to Facebook. A bug is something in the application that you as a user use that is not supposed to be there. For example, if you are seeing a line of code that PHP is written in, sorry, Facebook is written in PHP, right? As for the time being that we know, that we don't know whether they have upgraded, I don't know, but as at that time, PHP is written in, Facebook is written in PHP, sorry. And then if you are seeing a line of code in Facebook as a cyber criminal, and then you know what that line of code does. Probably it uploads photos to the Facebook server, right? So it uploads photos to the Facebook server or it share photos to somebody, and then you can actually see the photo after you have uploaded it. And then that line is there, and you see that the entire code of that thing does not verify that okay, this image you are sending must be in a JPEG format, a PNG, a J something something, or a normal image format. It just collect any file. So what an attacker might do is that the first thing they would think of, is leveraging on that bug because actually it's a bug, something that disrupts the flow of usage of the intent of that application. So what they do is that the first thing they do is they go then use that bug that they saw and then test the application. For example, from a cyber criminal standpoint, you might go and upload there's a PHP code that you can use to gain access to server, or you can do a netcat, the remote code connection. That's remote code execution. So I can connect myself to the server of Facebook using a PHP code. That's as simple as it sounds. So if I upload that PHP code to Facebook server and then I check the code, provided I can see the image, I then check the code and then I connected to it from my terminal, I can have access to Facebook server. So imagine having access to Facebook server as an attacker. The possibilities are endless. They are very, very big. So is there a software application that automatically detects viruses and bugs? So we understand what bugs are. So those are stuff that not everybody sees. Currently, there are bugs on Facebook, but they cannot come and be telling you that one outside because it will lead to something else that they don't want. So if there's software that detects that, yes, there are software in place that detects these things, right? But then what all these fang companies go out there to do is that they employ ethical penetration testers. So these are just them employing hackers, but these guys are ethical. They sign legal documents that say, this is what you do. You don't get to use it as a advantage over us. You get, so they sign this document and then they confirm to them. These are serious law issues that if you go back past it, it's a problem for you. So this is what they do, and then they employ a handful of them, and they even put bug bounties out there that okay, if you can find this bug and you report it to them, they will give you something. And what I'm saying something is this is not small money. I'm talking about $20,000. These are big. $70K. Big things. Google does it, Facebook does all those, in general, those FANG companies, the big top tech companies out there, most of them do these things. They pay ethical guys to come and hack into them and then show them this is what you need to fix. So they can go ahead and fix it and prevent themselves from the bad guys accessing that things. So yes, there are applications that detect this, but then for automatically blocking any attempts of hack, that for now, no. Yeah, there's for the time being I've been in cybersecurity space, no, they have not seen any application that automatically block attempts of hack. What they actually do is that, okay, this is the latest things that companies do out there. For example, WordPress. So if you have an access to WordPress account and then you don't know the password, you just know the email address of the entity, and they are trying to like guess that person password, you have 5 attempts. Even though it's you that is trying to guess your own password, you have 5 attempts. After that 5 attempts, one of two things happen. Either they tell you to try again in like 10 minutes time or in like 15, depending on how their policy is, or they change the server IP. So once they notice that you are trying to gain access, you are trying to like guess the correct password for a user for multiple times from particular IP address, because that's what they notice that happens, right? So from an attacker standpoint, I'm trying to gain somebody password from just sitting down with my laptop. So I'm trying to like guess multiple times. If they see that okay, this time is you try this thing, maybe the time now is 11 minutes after 2, and then you try guessing for 30 seconds straight. You are just guessing like that. They will observe it and okay, this is a problem, and then they tell their own system that okay, this person has been trying to guess this account for this short amount of time, and then it's very very fast to guess this account. And what they do is that they block that IP address, because my laptop can only have one IP address, internet protocol. So it has one IP address. They block that IP address for some minutes. So from a cyber criminal standpoint, that's actually a bad thing for us, because if I'm using brute force, as the example that I stated, Hydra, if I'm using it to brute force an account, and then the service I'm using to brute force gets blocked, like the IP address after 5 attempts, it gets blocked. I don't have any other thing off my sleeve than to wait for 15 minutes. And like I said, criminals don't like waiting. The next thing they do is they just let you go. But then, even at that, even with that precautions in place, people are still getting hacked. They are still getting breached. So yes, there's an application that shows you that somebody is trying to hack into your system. They don't prevent it. They only show you. It's up to your own company to do what you like with that information. So if, for example, now WordPress, like I stated, it shows their system in place that tell you, okay, this person has been trying to gain access. You should check that this is actually the real person. There are softwares out there that does this thing for you. They don't block hackers, but they just tell the organization that this is what is happening. And of course, it's the IT department that get to see that this is happening, and then they can take other steps, either to check with the person or block the person, or do something to help the sides of entity. That's that. So I hope you understand now.
Hello, Daniel. I hope you were able to understand what he said. Okay, he gives a thumb up, so that means it was
Okay,
clearly
good.
understand it. Actually, one person also raised their hand, which is I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your name properly, but I think his name is Michael. Okay, he has joined again. Michael, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Good
Hello.
afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I'm here. So, my question to Praise is because when you mentioned something concerning password, I now have experienced something similar to it, changing password, but I knew where the fault came from because the link I clicked was to check a particular message. So when I clicked it and it led me to a particular site, I had to put in my 50 password and all, and that was how they hacked my first account. Then I learned from it, and actually I don't click links anyhow. I go through a link before clicking it. But I think there's another way. They have a new Yeah, like I don't know if he's aware of this, but I think he should be aware. There is I think some link doesn't just lead you to any site where you put your password. I think when you click the link, you just automatically get information, and they don't need you to just put your password. In such case, how do we recognize such links, and how do we tackle such cases in case we come across such? That's the question I have.
Okay. Thank you for that question. It's actually something serious. And then thank you for sharing your experience with us also. It's something that, like I said, it happens to almost everybody. You just have to be cautious about this thing. So you asked that how for these sites that yes, I can attest to that that there are some sites that immediately you visit, you don't even need to put anything. They already get some information, but the information they have is not really sufficient. It's just like breadcrumbs that they to piece connect the dots. They use it to piece things together and have something good, right? So how do you then because let me share one example with us that I am sure 90% sure that most of us here have seen. So you see something like the video is doing giveaway. Click here to get 20 gig. Bruh, there's nothing like that. There's there's nothing. I'm sure most of us have seen it. The video is doing his child birthday, kiniko. Click here to get 20K. There's nothing like that. Hey, let me tell you now. So all these things that I say, Pastor E Adibu is doing his birthday, click here to get 20K gig. I see people posting. There's nothing here. Even though you are trying to, I mean, not to shade anybody, any shades of blue and red, but no, I'm just saying that these things don't really. If the video wants to give away, do give away. He knows what to do. It does not now come and start creating websites to start showing you, come and click this website and share to 1/10 of your family members to get your. There's nothing like that. So this is what happens to most people actually. So they click on these links and from there they figure that something is wrong. So Cornelius, what you could do is that to prevent such things that you just open the website and then something is wrong. So what you might actually consider is like I said, doing 2FAs, making sure that before anybody gets access to any of your accounts, the creator of the account, for example, Facebook will have to call you and give you code that this code is for they are trying to log into your account, and you know it fully well they are not trying to log into your account, that you don't have issues with it. So this is you don't get to do anything, right? But if you don't have all these things in place, once they just get the two credentials that they need like this, it is gone. They have access to it, and they even log you out. One experience also happened to me. Was it last week or last 2 weeks? Somebody was trying to like gain access to one of my social media accounts. I was like, you don't know that me I will have 2FA. Are you whining me? So they were actually Facebook, TikTok rather, was sending me code, security code. Like this, it was even once. They made like 5 attempts. They were sending code constantly. And what I was even expecting was the person to call me and tell me that I'm from your because actually, let me not even lie. So one of my early years of in the cybersecurity space of the development was rather tech as a whole. I actually I'm not saying I like this thing, but what happened was that me and the way I started actually it was friends and we liked the internet and we just wanted to get along with the internet. So what happens is that we'll get your we just go on Facebook, look for somebody not somebody that is young. So somebody young, we understand this thing. We look for age of 40 and up and above and all those things. So we get to your about us section. I mean, when we get to about most of them leave their emails there. Some of them leave the accounts to their other social media accounts. These are good things, but it's just me, my own idea, and that of my friend Christian by name. I don't even know where the guy is now. But then we two of us we just sit down. Class will be going on. We just carry the guys to bring phone to school, so he brings his phone, and then me, I'm the one doing the work. He just brings phone. That's how it was. So it's not something that I even started currently. It has been there since. So I get his phone. I pick this person's phone number, either from Facebook or other social media accounts that they have. I pick the number and then I go to Facebook and I tell Facebook that I want to log in with my account. That time it was still even username and password. Yeah, I think yes, it was username and password that you put into the. You can put username and password, or phone number and password. Yes, they have not updated it to what it is currently. That's like was it 5 to 7 years back. That's what will happen. And then once I request this stuff from Facebook, Facebook will send a code to the recipient of the number, that the owner of the account. They will send the code to their mobile device, and then they tell them to log in if they are the one particular one trying to, And of course, we don't have access to their phone. So what would you do? Then Christian will now need to come in. He's the one that will form the voice. He will call and be like, okay, I'm calling from Facebook. Notice something, something, something. Most of us have experienced this. So let's even be factual with ourselves. I've even experienced it on WhatsApp. But what I'm saying now is that me myself, I was doing it years ago. Please, I'm not doing it now. I beg, please, anyone should frame me. I'm not doing it now. I'm just sharing the experience that we can all learn from. I beg. So that all happened, and then this guy will call them up. And let me actually shock you. 95% of these people give us this code. That's how crazy it sounds. 95% of these people gives us the. In fact, that time we're like getting account in a day. We can see like 5 to 7 accounts from just this game. I was like, I that time I didn't really care about what happened to the account later on. I would be hearing that, okay, guy, give it to his senior brother. It was giving me. I don't care. What I want, I just want to do these things. You get, so we're seeing. So it was clear to me that during that time, these people does not understand the way this thing actually works. So if you are like that and you are having all these things at the back of your mind, please don't do it. I beg, please don't do this. Go to the ethical side. Of course, I learned my lesson, and then with the day I learned my lesson, I was much younger then, and I didn't really have courage. So the time we learned our lesson was the time we hacked the pastor account actually, and then this man called back. He called the number back. We don't want to pick, but he was constantly calling the number because he had already realized that we have logged in to the account. We got the code from him. He gave us the code. When we called it, we logged in the code. Then we now remove him from the account. We go to settings and we understood pretty well that time. We go to the settings and removed him from his own account. Then the account was only on our phone with the new password we created. This man dialed our number a couple of times. We did not pick. Then when Christian got home, he was still calling the number. Of course, he have lost his account. He needs it back. Then he called back and started praying for Christian. Christian came to school the next day panicking. He was like, please, I don't do this thing again. I know. From there, that's how this guy started bringing his phone to school. And just like that, it faded off because later on, people noticed this thing, much more bigger people, and then they report to Facebook, and then Facebook, of course, prevented this thing, and now it's much more secure than. And I know now, and most of us understand that you can. Someone will not just call you pretending from because with that time we were pretty sincere. If you hear my voice go on that time, you will be like, is this person truly working? But you too, why will you be thinking that Facebook will call you to ask you for? Maybe they are writing it in their statement that they will not call you to ask you for this code. What's now your sense of giving the people the well, most times people are really carried away and they don't understand this thing. So back to Cornelius, please use 2FAs, and then to prevent that you see these things and click it. If you are not expecting this thing, for example, if you are not expecting a code from Facebook, why should you be bothered? Why should we be bothered that okay, let's just give this person this code? You should not be bothered. You should just be like, okay, you did not order anything from Amazon. Amazon cannot send you any email that you should come and confirm what you ordered. So there's nothing there to come and start hiding under the except if you are looking for something that you did not keep, then you're not gonna enter in someone trap. That I'm not saying it's you. I mean, I'm just stating an example. But thank you very much for that question. It was much needed. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Praise, and everyone here who were present to the webinar and those who asked questions. It has really been an amazing one asking Praise question and he giving us, a very explained answer to you. So, guys, I hope we were all able to take one or two things from what he said now. And also, in the call message chat here, someone is asking if they can have your maybe a contact of you if they want to know anything more further in terms of cybersecurity. And also calling. Okay, you have already answered that. All right then. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. It's really been an amazing one. And most thankful to Praise, Ebimit Alumni at the same time giving us insights into the cybersecurity space, especially the cybercrime itself, and giving us insight as well on how to mitigate all this cybercrime, which is around every one of us here that we are currently here, and also other people as well. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much for it. All right, then he has sent you his contact details so you can copy it and share it. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely day ahead. And it's also a big pleasure and a big thank you to the Leadership Council, the BMIT Leadership Council, who hosted this webinar. Looking forward to more webinars, workshops, and networking events from the BMIT Leadership Council. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. But I think somebody was raising up their hand. Well, anyways, thank you very much. Thank you, the leadership council.